How's it going, everyone? Today we are talking about the best EDC folders under $50. I tried to keep this list comprised of some different steels, some different blade shapes, some older models, some newer models. We'll go ahead and get started with the Petrified Fish Victor. This bad boy comes in right around $45, and for that you get a coated K110 clip point blade, very well finished, very well done. You do have an opening slot on the clip side, so for right-handed folks, you will be able to reverse flick this easily. It also has a very well done flipper tab that you can light switch, you can push button it, very well done. I love clip point blades because they're multifunctional in my opinion. You have a nice straight edge here typically, a little bit of belly, and then a nice tip. And I just think clip points are very useful, kind of similar to a Tanto, how that has its two main edges. And a clip point reminds me a lot of that. I've never struggled to do any day-to-day tasks with a clip point, and I've never struggled to do work-related tasks either. You have very well finished micarta handles on this guy for $45, guys. What you are getting these days is insane. You're getting almost probably about a half micarta backspacer that's done in the same micarta as the handles. You do have a lanyard hole at the very butt end of the knife. This is a steel fold over clip, and it is very deep carry, which I can appreciate. On this particular model, all the hardware has been blacked out. For $45, the Petrified Fish is definitely a winner in my book for under $50. The next one up is no stranger to the channel. I've shown this one off quite a bit. This is the Trevisa Lynx. Now, there is a caveat to this one, and I think one other one. This one is coming in at $55, but as of right now, there is a coupon code for this guy, which takes it right around the $50 price point. And I wanted to get this one on here because it is such a phenomenal knife. It's got a great size to it. You're getting a coated 14C 28N blade. It's a Warncliffe in my opinion because of the little bit of belly here. Some people might call it a modified sheep's foot. It doesn't have a completely straight edge, no, but it's a modified Warncliffe in my opinion. You have black micarta handles, and they are also very well finished, very reminiscent of the Petrified Fish micarta, but in this case you have the black. You do have a completely sterile blade, as you did on the Petrified Fish Victor, which I can really appreciate. This is one thing I tell a lot of these companies: if you're gonna do anything, just give me a logo or something on the pivot and be completely done with it. And that's one thing Petrified Fish and Trevisa nail here. Trevisa nailed this design in my opinion. They kept it completely sterile, other than they have a little logo on the pivot, which is completely acceptable, and you know, it looks fine. It looks good to me. And then all they have on the clip side is they do have the steel marking, which is 14C28N. Perfect steel for everyday use and work case scenarios. You do have great pass through to that liner. There is a chamfer on the liner. Very easy to maneuver and actuate, very comfortable as well. You do have a very deep carry steel rollover clip. The clip is not, it's recessed a little bit, and the screws are not recessed, but I have never found an issue even in my Carhartt pants, my Dickies Carpenter pants. I wear some thicker pants for work, especially in the wintertime, and I have never had a single issue getting this in and out of pocket. So the clip works just fine in my opinion. Very reminiscent of like a Civivi clip, a Sencut clip, that style of clip. That's what it reminds me of. All the hardware has been blacked out. You do have a micarta quarter or 1/3 backspacer. Very comfortable, great size. This is a perfect EDC knife and work knife in my opinion. So that is number 2, the Trevisa Lynx, coming in at $55 with a coupon code on Amazon right now. And I will try to link all these knives below. They should all be available. I checked that and I tried to make sure all of these were available at the time of filming this video. Next up, and no stranger to the EDC and knife world, this is the Kubi Royal. This bad boy is done and designed by Colin Mason Pierre, which he is part of Devo Knives as well, with our good buddy Kev from Lefty EDC. Now, I wish they would make a premium version of this knife because it's an awesome knife. So you have a bead blasted D2 spear point, drop point blade. It's more drop pointy, I guess. It's not quite a spear point. You have this nice elongated hole here, which is perfect for the reverse flick. You can easily thumb flick it because this is kind of flared up here. So it's really easy to get your thumb on and thumb flick it out. The top flipper works very well. There's only my only complaint, and it's just me being nitpicky to the very maximum. And I wish this was either a little more rounded, or B, came up to a little straighter of a point, because as it sits, it's almost, if you miss and hit this very top part, even though they do have one, or the jimping should have rolled all the way around. I don't know if that would have fixed it though, but it's a little, if you miss and roll over this, which if you're paying attention, you won't. But, you know, like me, I'll be sitting there and I'll be just, you know, continuously be doing it, not paying attention. It does get a little pokey right there. But that's just me being absolutely insanely nitpicky. It is, you know, it's fine. But if they do a premium run of this knife, I would like to see them kind of round that a little bit more, or come up just a little straighter. That way you either have that straight flat surface or it's a little more rounded. So I think that would solve the issue. But that's just, like I said, being insanely nitpicky. The action is insane. D2 is a great steal, especially for $48, which is what this guy's coming in at. You do have good access to the liner. They did throw some jimping on the liner, and it works very, very well. You have insanely well-finished G10 handles. Kubi does a phenomenal job on their G10. And this is no exception. It's very well done. You have a deep carry steel rollover clip. It is not recessed, but the pocket screws are, and you have plenty of room underneath there to get in some larger seamed pants. You do have milling inside the liners there, some long circular milling line cutouts, and it makes this knife ultra lightweight. You do have a lanyard hole there, and this is completely open construction, making this very lightweight. And because of how this is rounded here, it's even without a backspacer, which I'm a huge fan of backspacers. It makes this knife comfortable, easy to squeeze, doesn't bother your hand one little bit. The Kubi Royal at $48 is definitely a good one to look at. So this next one is a little newer to me. I got it a couple weeks ago, but I have really fallen in love with it, especially when I found out that it was coming in at $44. We have the Sencut Kyril. This is a Ferrum Forge design, which if you've been around, you know Ferrum Forge, and you know they have good designs. I'm not a fanboy of Ferrum Forge, but I do have a couple, and all the ones I have I like. So for the $44 price point, you're getting 9CR 18 MOV, and you have that steel marking on the back here, and you do have the Ferrum Forged design logo there. Completely acceptable with me. If they would just do away with the send cut on the front of the blade, this would look phenomenal, in my opinion. You get rid of that, and you have a completely sterile knife for the most part, other than the designer and the steel marking. And the steel marking, I think, is a given. I think that should be somewhere nice and tight up to the top of the scale or something, just because. And since if there is a designer, the designer's logo or name or whatever, that's completely fine with me as well. Doesn't bother me one bit. So you're getting a 9CR 18 MOV sheep's foot blade. This one has been coated. It's like a black wash, and in my opinion, it is very well done. It came to me nice and sharp. I got it brand new. I think it was from the Blue Creek Knives Knife Nerd box. You do get a nice choil up there so you can choke up. The blade stock is thin. It comes down pretty thin. The G10 is finished pretty well. It's not quite as well done as Kubi does theirs, but it's no slouch. It is finished very well. The knife is completely blacked out with the exception of the writing on the blade. You do have a pretty deep carry clip. The only part that'll be sticking out here is the lanyard hole for the lanyard fans. You do have about a half backspacer made out of G10. Yeah, it's half, maybe even a little more, making this knife ultra comfortable. In my opinion, this would be an awesome fifth pocket knife. It's nice and thin. The profile is not too tall. You'll see when I put it down there, it is got quite a bit smaller of a profile than these guys. Kind of go large to small there. But that is the Send Cut Chi-Rail. Has great action. Flipper tab works great, which is its only means of deployment. But you can thumb and reverse flick this guy with some practice. You can kind of use that swedge that runs up the top. So you can do that once you kind of practice yourself. And I can usually thumb flick it out too if my hands aren't sweaty or whatever. But you can manipulate this with the flipper, and you can go off the swedge to thumb flick it, reverse flick it. It might take some practice, but you'll do it if you practice enough. Send Cut Chi-Rail at $44. So we will move these out of the way because we don't want things to get too cluttered up. So number 5 coming in is no stranger to this channel either. This is a phenomenal knife, guys. This is the Civivi Brazen. Now, I'm not talking about this model exactly. The Damascus steel blade is going to cost you a bit more, but you can get a coated 14C 28N drop point blade for $49.80, and that is an amazing deal. This was when Civivi was definitely at the top of their game about a year and a half or 2 years ago. They were just crushing it, and this is an amazing knife. I actually have both versions. The other version's out in my truck, and I just figured this would be plenty good as an example. You do have dual thumb studs, a nice choil there for sharpening. The flipper tab and the studs both work amazing. You can do all the deployment methods that you want with this guy. The detent is nice and stout on it. Perfect enough for the flipper and the studs, which is hard to do. Usually it's lighter one way or the other, but in this case, it's just nice and stout all the way around. You have a nice neutral grip there. Great pass through to the liner. It has been jimped. You do have a quarter backspacer that I believe is made out of G10. You have an integrated lanyard hole and an ultra deep carry pocket clip. the Civivi Brazen at $49 to $50 in micarta 14C. Just an amazing deal, and this knife is going to hang around for a long time. The Civivi Brazen is definitely a winner. Next up, we have another one that I've been testing pretty heavily. It is fairly newer to me, and it has performed awesome. This is the JSWS EDC knife. They haven't given their knives names yet. I think they're a fairly new company. This guy is coming in at $38, and I want to start off by saying typically they have a coupon code. I got this for $20 when I bought mine, and you are getting a pretty damn good value here on this JSWS. And for the full retail price, which is $38, and we'll take it at that. Usually there's a coupon code, but for that, you're getting a satin finish on a 440C. Well done blade, in my opinion. This thing has done phenomenal, and I have put it through some work. There will be a full overview and review of this guy coming up. It is like a modified clip point, modified drop point. It clips a little bit, but it really has a long belly and a straight drop down. So it's like a modified clip, modified drop point, and I love it. You got that nice straight edge, some belly, a nice pokey tip up there. The thumb studs, they're they're not the best thing in the world, but they don't hurt to actuate. They're easy to actuate. They're just different. They are more rounded and have jimping there on the top. So you do get lots of grip. They're just different, and it's taken me some time to get used to them, but I do like them. You have some jimping up here, and where it lands with the studs, it's just really comfortable, and you have a lot of control with it. You do have an aluminum orange anodized pivot collar. The pivot is blacked out. The main feature of this knife that I really like is that crossbar lock. It sticks out, it protrudes nicely, so it's easy to get to, easy to pull down. It's not gritty like some knives that have crossbar locks that are in the budget range. They can get pretty gritty, pretty hard to actuate, and I don't even believe when I opened this it was like that, but even if it was a little bit, it has broken in beautifully. It's not gritty at all. The action's nice and stout. The spring strength in there, it works perfectly. You do have some nice, well done micarta that's black, and I really like the micarta. I mean, at this price point, guys, I really like it. You have a lower mounted rollover deep carry clip. You have a little bit sticking out there. Nothing much, though. You do have a lanyard hole. I think this knife would have really benefited from having all the hardware maybe blacked out and then leaving the satin blade. If everything was blacked out on this knife, I think this would be even better looking. I think it's a good looking knife, though. You know what I'm already going to say. Get rid of the JSWS. Give us a little emblem or something on the pivot. I like the clip. At the end, it ducks down there, and, it's comfortable. It's a great size. The JSWS EDC knife coming in at $38 with that good 440C. It came centered. No lock issues. No detent style issues. This has been a great knife, and there will be a full overview and review of that guy coming up very soon. Next up, this guy just makes the cutoff, coming in at $49.74, the Kershaw Leak. Now, I've had this knife for quite a while. This was my first Kershaw, and I don't have many of them. But this bad boy is definitely a workhorse and looks good. It's comfortable. You have a 14C 28N modified Warncliffe blade. Because of that little bit of belly, it makes it modified. But it's a Warncliffe. You do have dual thumb studs and a flipper tab for your deployment method. They all work very well. And if it looks like the action on this is very good, It is, but it's assisted, so it will not drop shut. It's something you're going to have to close. But the assistance on this isn't, it's comfortable. And I don't like assisted knives that much. I have a couple, maybe, like just a handful at the most. But this one, I don't mind it. Not all my knives have to just drop shut or hydraulically drop. This one, I really like it, especially at the price point. You're getting steel handles. This is a frame lock, and they give you good pass-through to that lock bar. You have pin construction with some T6 and T8s. The only, thing about this knife I don't like is the clip, and I see why they did it this way, to protect that lock bar. It almost acts as an over travel stop. It almost acts like to cover it up so you're not interfering with the opening of the knife. So I get it. You have quite a bit sticking out there, but easy to get out. It's small enough that this would be also a good fifth pocket knife. I believe that can be actuated as a lock for the knife, but I have it so tight so that way it don't move. So you can just basically tighten it up so much that it will not move and not be an issue. So that's how I opted to deal with that. But the Kershaw Leak, no stranger to the knife world, coming in at $49.74 with 14C. Definitely a great little budget knife. Next up, when I got this knife, I absolutely fell in love with it, and it's a workhorse, a great EDC knife. Coming in at $37.94 is the CJRB Ruffian. This bad boy is a workhorse, in my opinion. So you're getting a nice Warncliffe style blade here. This is in CJRB and Artisan's proprietary steel AR RPM 9. And it works. It is a great steel, in my opinion. It's a powder form of like D2 in a sense, but it's a great steel, especially when it's coated. I mean, you have literally no issues. The edge retention's good, corrosion resist. Even the satin ones are good. So don't think you have to get coated, but I'm just saying that coating just helps with that corrosion resistance issue if there were to be one. But ARPM 9 is going to be pretty corrosion resistant. The toughness is good. The edge retention is all good, in my opinion. You have a elongated teardrop style hole, and it is great for the thumb and reverse flick, especially the reverse flick. Phenomenal on this little guy. You have a nice sharpening choil there. Going to get a decent amount of sharpening life. Great pass through to that liner that's been chamfered. Very easy to actuate and maneuver. This is a unique looking knife. The way that it is closed looking, when it's opened, the blade and tip are lower. So that way, when you hold it naturally, it's already going to be in a lower position and pointing where you want to go. You have a red aluminum pivot collar, very well finished G10 handles. You have a deep carry steel rollover clip where the pocket clip has been recessed, and the screws as well. In this case, it is lefty friendly, so you can mount it here, you can mount it here, and you can mount it here. So you can do tip up or down, left or right. CJRB nailed it with this guy at $38. I mean, this is a great knife, in my opinion. If you haven't experienced the Ruffian and you're looking for a nice user, this is definitely top on my list in this price point. And here's one from a newer company that just started within the last few months. They've undergone some name changes and they've undergone some other changes. This is the Remet or Remiti hand feel. This bad boy is coming in at $35.99, and it typically has a coupon code with it as well. And for that, you're getting a 9CR 18 MOV blade. This is more spear pointy than anything. It's a spear point, drop point. You do have nice thumb studs and flipper tab for your deployment method. And that flipper, even though it sticks out a little bit, doesn't bother me one bit. And what that really allows you to do is really get some momentum going on that flipper tab, just making that thing fly out. Easy to light switch, easy to push button. This knife has really grown on me. You have a nice, comfortable, neutral handle. A lot of different size hands will be able to fit on this guy. Nice pass through to the liner. Wish they would have chamfered it, but that's getting very nitpicky. It's very easy to access, very easy to maneuver and move over. Very neutral handle. Everything is completely blacked out except the remet on the clip. Wish they would have done away with that, but no big deal on that either. I just, I wish I could change this clip most likely to something else, which I'll probably do, but that's just one piece of advice I could give to them is don't put anything on the pocket clip unless it's like a small emblem, but even that, just put it on the pivot, and put a chamfer on that liner. Everything else with this guy, is very well done. You have a deep carry rollover clip. And if you refer to Stasa 23's video on this, which I just recently saw, this knife performed outstanding on his testing, and it has performed very well with me as well. This is another one that I've been testing out. There will be a full overview and review to come of this Remet hand feel for $38, 9CR, 18 MOV. It's a pretty damn good budget knife to take a look at, in my opinion. And last up, this is no stranger, and it's made a huge splash as of late because of the blade change, which I love Warren clips, but I also love a good drop point. And I bought this knife the day they were dropped, and you didn't really hear much about them. It took quite a while, and I knew right away, and I have it on the channel as well, I believe, and I'll try to link that video above, but I knew when I unboxed this that this was a winner. For that price tag of $55 with a 10% off coupon code, which makes this, it just makes it. It's right around the $50 price point, guys. You're getting a satin AR-RPM 9 drop point blade. It's nice and thin. Blade stock's thin. The edge is nice and thin. You get dual thumb studs, standard step design thumb studs that work phenomenal. Spring detent in this knife is phenomenal. The button is recessed there in that pocket, and it works amazing, guys. This is the only button lock on this list, and that's for many reasons, but one is they're just not the strongest lock. Now, I have not had a single issue with this one. The Pyrite has been a phenomenal knife, guys. I have an unboxing and a short and maybe even overview of this guy on the channel, along with the rest of these knives. You have an ultra deep carry steel rollover clip. Hasn't been recessed, but the screws are, and there's plenty of room in there. You have triangular milling there inside on the liners, making this ultra light, open construction. You have two posts back there. You could run a you have a hole there for your lanyard. I was going to say you could run a lanyard through there, probably. Yeah, you could. But you have a hole, so you could do either or. Action's great. Fidgetability's great. Coming in at $55 with a 10% off coupon code. Had to get that one on the list. So we have the CJRB Pyrite, the Kershaw Leak, the Remet hand feel. We have the Trevisa Lynx. We have the Petrified Fish Victor. We have the JSWS EDC knife, and these are all great knives, guys. Or that was the Sencut Kai Rail, guys. I'm sorry. This is the Remet hand feel. They both look very similar. That's the Send Cut Chiral. This is the Remet hand feel. We have the Kubi Royal there. We have the Civivi Brazen. And we have the CJ RB Ruffian. This guy is a phenomenal knife. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I try to help you out the best that I can. But those are 10 amazing EDC folders under or around $50. And if you have any questions about any of these, let me know. Leave it down in the comments. Leave it down in the comments what you think of this list. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button underneath the video. I'd love to have you here. Give the video a thumbs up. Anything else, leave it down in the comments. I will be doing more videos like this, 20 and under, 30, 40, 50, 100 and under. So there will be more videos like this coming. I'm going to try to start doing a variety of things, or continue doing a variety of things. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I love y'all, and I will see you on the next one.